you do not sell your Bitcoin.
CBDC is going to be the future currency of the world. And it is necessary that every central bank, every country works on CBDCs.
You came out strongly against a central bank digital currency, which would be a government-controlled digital dollar. China obviously has its own push in the Chinese digital currency. But isn't the next logical step for you to embrace Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin obviously is decentralized. The government can't get its hands on it. What about Bitcoin with all the young people, including African Americans, who are very interested in it?
Well, a lot of people are doing it. I always liked one currency. I call it a currency. I like the dollar. But a lot of people are doing it. And frankly, it's taken a life of its own. You probably have to do some regulation, as you know. But many people are embracing it. And more I'm seeing people wanting to pay Bitcoin. And you're seeing something that's interesting. So I can live with it one way or the other. I've always liked one really powerful thing, and that's called the dollar.
Yes, Bitcoin is our third largest position, so you're hitting on all the good ones. We are hitting a very big psychological hurdle, that 59,000. Watch that very, very closely, Charles. If we break above that, we believe this thing is going to $100,000 minimum, which is what I stated a couple months back on your show. It's a large position. We will buy if it breaks 59,000.
Wow, I love that. Two things you said I love. Everyone always talks about averaging down, which means chasing something that often has at least a short-term flaw. You're saying, no, breakout, buy the breakout, and 100,000. Beth, you know we record these things. I'm just letting you know.
God bless you. Well, let me ask you this. You just mentioned Bitcoin. He is at odds with you on that subject. I'm not going to say he's been right about Bitcoin. He's probably been wrong about Bitcoin. He might have been right about actually the economy thus far, because he did say that he didn't think there were going to be interest rate cuts coming so quickly. And on that score, he has been 100% correct. On Bitcoin, he's been a lot less correct. We're looking at $56,925 on Bitcoin. We're now, about a month and a half, 2 months after these exchange-traded funds have been up and running and approved. Sort of walk through the math of where you think this all goes.
Well, I mean, the first thing I would say, though, and, because I know Jamie does listen to your show, hopefully he catches this segment, I would just ask him to please do more homework, because people like Paul Tudor Jones or Stan Druckenmiller or somebody like Larry Fink, who's actually done the homework, were perhaps negative on Bitcoin prior to doing the homework. Andrew, it's a one-way ticket towards Bitcoin if you actually do the homework to fully understand the asset. But specifically, if you look at the last 14 years, you usually get a quadruple after a halving. And so Bitcoin right now is trading 57,000. I'm not sure where it'll be on or about April 20th when the halving actually takes place. But let's say it's at 50,000. That would imply over 18 months from the halving a $200,000 Bitcoin price. So the price is going up primarily because there's not a lot of supply out there. And yet you're seeing these Bitcoin ETFs coming into the marketplace with 12 to 14 times what's available in terms of what the network is producing every single day. And so that's why you're seeing this price squeeze. And of course, you do have people that don't believe in Bitcoin that are short Bitcoin. And so they're getting wrecked right now. And I think that's the combination of why you're seeing such great price appreciation.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the cash out. And can Bitcoin hit 100,000? Guys, we don't have to guess. Only thing we have to do is follow the Fed. And March 11th through March 20th is going to tell us everything. And what the Crypto Teacher sees is the Fed does nothing in March, which is going to pull back stocks and cryptos. But then we're going to have a big distraction that's going to come up. We know they need that crisis in order to start building this fourth industrial revolution. But remember, this is an election year. They're going to hold up these global markets just for a few more months. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we know the Fed and the emerging markets give us the signal for the utility bull run for cryptos and tech stocks. And then, guys, we have Scaramucci on Jamie Dimon. And what Scaramucci doesn't say is that we clearly know JP Morgan is investing in its own stablecoin, own blockchain, and we know JP Morgan has bought Bitcoin plenty of times and is also a participant in the BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF. So the Hegelian dialectic, guys, only works on the sheep, not those who do research. And we have Michael Saylor looking like a genius, but we know it's not Michael Saylor, it's Morgan Stanley. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Jamie Dimon on the power of AI. It can be used for good or evil, but we know AI is going to change everything that we do. And just looking at the technology, you can clearly see that. But remember, they haven't even turned on the supercomputers. And we have Wendy's back in 2023 teamed up with Google to take the drive-through orders. Now Wendy's is taking a step further. Now they're going to be doing something similar to the Uber app. Your prices are going to fluctuate based on the time you get your burger. So your burger could be 20 cents more if you're going in during lunchtime. Yes, guys, I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And we know the robots, algorithms, and drones are going to be making your food and then also delivering your food. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And again, guys, we have a partial shutdown maybe on its way. And we know we have to sit back, get our popcorn, and let it play out. But we know for a fact in 2025, the government is going to shut down, and they're not even going to care. Remember, guys, they have to shut down the government anyway in order to implement this new system. They need time in order to move us over. So that's why we know a crisis, a big crisis, is definitely on its way. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Let's just take on the Jamie Dimon comments first. I'm so curious what your reaction was to that.
Listen, Andrew, he's one of the smartest people in financial services, if not the smartest. So I enjoy listening to him, and I always try to factor in what he's saying. The economy does feel very strong. I don't see how the Fed, though, doesn't cut rates eventually because of the deficit spending problem that the U.S. is facing. And I think those rate cuts will save the economy from going into recession. But, Jamie's a very smart guy. He's smarter than me. And so I always listen to him. Of course, I'm at intellectual odds with him related to Bitcoin. But listen, anytime he speaks, I listen. He's one of the few people, including yourself, that I have on my Google alert. Humbled by markets, humbled by politics. So when I make these predictions, I'm often wrong, but I do feel it's going higher. It's very hard to figure this stuff out in the short term, but I'll leave you with this thought. If gold is a $16 trillion asset and Bitcoin has a lot of the same properties as gold, and I would make a case that it's better than gold because it's easier to move around, it should trade to at least half of that. It's at that $1 trillion right now, and so that would be an 8x. And again, that's from now until 2030. So I can't predict the near term, Andrew, but this is something that we put on in October of 2020. I've got a lot of railroad tracks on my back as a result of putting this on. I mean, I'm happy to report to you guys that our fund has done very well. I mean, past performance is not indicative of future performance, but the last 18 months for SkyBridge have been very good as a result of staying in this. And I think this is a big lesson to investors. If you do the homework, even if you're wrong short term, stay in something, and you'll likely be rewarded if you've got the thing right on fundamental. Joe, you probably know this. Michael made his first Bitcoin investment in August of 2020. And I think SkyBridge owes him a great debt because he explained a lot of this to us. He came on during COVID into one of our SALT talks, and we started making our investments in October, a few months after him. The money by Professor Neil Ferguson goes into that 4,000-year history that you're describing. Right. And somebody like Professor Ferguson is a pro-Bitcoiner because Bitcoin checks all of the boxes. Better than better than that. Exactly. And the last point, and you know this, the central banking community has been a little bit of a drunk driver with the money. Just go back to 1971 when we pulled ourselves off the gold standard. The U.S. dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power in 52 years. And so Satoshi Nakamoto in the white paper basically said, look, maybe they're drunk driving with the money, and maybe we can create a decentralized system where the assets are harder. And, Andrew was debating Tom Lee last week. I saw that interview. I guess what I would say to Andrew, read The Ascent of Money, and you'll understand that this decentralized, fully transparent currency is definitely going to rise in value. And again, maybe it won't be the currency standard for the world, but it certainly can replace gold or be alongside of gold as a store of value. And I certainly, Larry thinks that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out there with it.
What do you make of just the overall hype surrounding AI? Obviously, you have practical applications within JP Morgan, but just kind of overall in the market right now.
Yeah, this is not hype. This is real. So, when we had the internet bubble the first time around, eyeballs, that was hype. This is not hype. It's real. And so people are deploying it, at different speeds, but it will handle a tremendous amount of stuff. We're all going to get better, faster, smarter. Bad guys are going to use it, so we have to build the systems to counter the bad guys. It's being used to combat cyber right now. Obviously it's being used everywhere. So it's not hype. This will be for the rest of your life, and it'll be modern. You're going to find different ways to use it. And so we're asking the management teams, imagine what you can do with it. Some are way advanced already. We have 200 people in the research department just doing research and synthetic data on these large language models. The stuff you had, the facial stuff that just came out, we were doing that for a while ago, and how can we use it? So this is real.
For safety.
And it's real, it's very deep, and it'll be used in healthcare, it'll save lives, it may invent cancer cures, because it can do things that the human mind simply cannot do. So, even your blood has your DNA, your RNA, prior diseases. They're going to know where you grew up. Was there radon where you grew up? Was this where you grew up? And putting that all together, they may be able to predict with much more accuracy what you might have, and then it can actually invent the drug that can stop it from happening. So I'm a big optimist about AI.
I love
and
that.
Yes, it'll be used for some bad stuff, too.
We'll pretend that you're on to talk about the possible government shutdown and none of the good stuff that we're going to talk about. But we'll talk about that at the beginning. Here we go. I mean, how many times have we done this? Probably not going to happen.
Too many.
Probably not going to happen. What do you see?
No, this time actually could happen.
Partial?
It's a partial, so you really wouldn't feel it, but no one's making a decision. There's two types of leaders, right? You're either a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermometer just tells you the temperature. A thermostat tells you the temperature, but change the temperature. I'm looking around, and no one's willing to make a decision. No one's willing to leap out and say, let's just move forward. I don't know what we're fighting over right now. I mean, the spending levels are already set. The longer you keep a continuing resolution, it means you're spending more money than what our debt ceiling was, and you've locked in all the Democratic policies. So I don't quite understand why we continue down this path. We're still talking about last year's money. We're 5 months into the new year.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team. Save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Drama Team. Save New York. From COVID 33. Part 3. King Yeshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.